Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? This is your brother Shabazz coming to you live on this monumental and somewhat historical March 9th, Monday. I don't know if y'all know, but I know. And I'm gonna clue you in if you don't. But you know, I got to give it a minute or two to see if anybody's going to join us tonight. This is your brother Shabazz. We're going to get it started in a minute or two. We're talking about the FBA people again tonight. We ain't going to really talk about them so much. Tonight's video is dedicated to them. Tonight's video is inspired by them. But tonight's video ain't really about them. But because they keep coming on to my channel, my page, my platform, because they keep coming with these empty talking points, I decided, let me put some stuff together for you. So yes, I'm saying FBA is wrong again with their whole Pan-Africanism is dead. I'm going to challenge you on this tonight. I'm going to challenge you with some information that apparently you don't know and don't know how to even look up. But before we go there, I would be remiss if I didn't at least ask the question, do y'all know how interesting of a day March 9th is in history? March 9th, historically speaking, did y'all know that this is the day that, let me turn this music down. Put that on pause. Did y'all know that on March 9th in 1841, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling on this day, freeing the 35 survivors of the Ujamaa, the 35 Africans that overpowered those white boys in a quest to get their freedom. March 9th is the day the Supreme Court heard their case, or not heard it, but ruled on their case and said, you know something, 7 of the 9 justices, and they hailed from southern states, and they said, you know something, y'all win it. Y'all win. Y'all get y'all freedom. So that's just a very interesting thing. Now, if you didn't know, the events leading up to the decision began on July 2nd in 1839, when Sinq, or some say Sinke, led 52 fellow captive Africans who had been abducted from the British protectorate of Sierra Leone. He led a revolt aboard this ship. Now, former President John Quincy Adams argued their defense before the Supreme Court, and he contended that those Africans have been illegally enslaved. They were entitled to their freedom. There were private donations that eventually ensured that the Africans' safe return to Sierra Leone would be possible. In January 1842, Adams' victory was considered a significant success for the abolition movement. So their case was ruled on March 9th, 1841. But that's not the only reason I'm saying March 9th is important. Did you know that in 1965, March 9th popped off again as another monumental day? Martin Luther King Jr. led another of his attempts to march from Selma to Montgomery. It wasn't just one, but it was on March 9th. But he had to turn those marchers around because they realized state troopers were blocking the road. And on that same night, a group of segregationists fatally beat a protester, a young white minister by the name of James Reed. Now, so this moment became known in the history books, or not in the real history books because they don't put it in there, but in the analogs of Black history, They call it Turnaround Tuesday. And it served to intensify national pressure that led later to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So again, so that's two monumental things. Now, if you come up in the hip hop culture, then you already know Christopher Wallace was murdered on March 9th. That's right, the notorious B.I.G. drive-by shooting. He was pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. in Los Angeles, California. So that's three things. I got one more before we really dive into what we're going to really be talking about. But on March 9th, back in 1892, in Memphis, there were some other brothers that saw the wrong end of the American judicial system. Around 2:30 a.m. on the morning of March 9th, 1892, 75 men wearing black, or rather wearing black masks, they kidnapped Thomas Moss. They kidnapped Calvin McDowell. They kidnapped Will Stewart from their jail cells at the Shelby County Jail. They transported them to Chesapeake and Ohio Rail Yard, 1 mile north of the city, and shot them dead. But the reason is why. Not just because they were black, but because those three black men dared to open up their own business. They opened up a grocery store in Memphis, and it was a successful grocery store. It competed directly with the white-owned shop nearby. And it did so well that even some of the white customers at the white store decided, I'm going to go over there with the Negroes. They got better prices and better products. Well, you know, the Klansmen couldn't have that. So a confrontation escalated. White deputies, they thought it was going to be a walk in the park, and even the white deputies ended up getting wounded. But Moss, McDowell, and Stewart were arrested. A mob broke out, and the jail was infiltrated. And them brothers was executed before a trial could even occur. And it probably won't going to be a valuable trial, but still. Now, just before he was killed, it's documented that Moss said to the crowd, "Tell my people to go. There is no justice here." Let that sink in for you. Thomas Moss, if you don't know, Thomas Moss, if you don't know, was a personal friend of Ida B. Wells. His murder shattered any remaining faith that she had in the justice system and ignited one of the most fearless anti-lynching campaigns in American history. She began, because of this, or in response to this, she began systematically documenting lynchings across the South, publishing investigations that debunked the standard justification white mobs always use. She exposed the real motive, economic and political terror against black people who dared to compete, against black people whose black excellence actually manifested in success. So again, what I usually get around to talking about, Black history. Carter G. Woodson, he said, keep it going all year round. So for everybody that says, why has it got to be in February? Who said it had to be? We can discuss Black history, the good, the bad, and in between, any day we so desire. But so that's just, you know, me letting you know, this is a monumental day, March 9th, all across the spectrum. But that thing about them brothers in Memphis who dared to build a grocery store, entrepreneurs, and they managed a pipeline, that resonates with me. it resonates with me because that's what Pan-Africanism is about. Pan-Africanism is about building pipelines, making connections all across the world with other Black people for the betterment, for the benefit of whichever Black people are involved in that pipeline. And that brings me to, the receipts that I want to discuss tonight. Because like I said, the last time I came live, I had quite a few people trying to tell me, you don't never give no receipts. Now, I've given receipts in several videos, but my receipts in the past videos were all like, not all over the place, but they were here and there, depending on the particular topic that was at hand. And so I decided, okay, well, this one's for the library, so to speak. I'm just going to drop everything in one succinct video. So this whole thing, it also reminded me of like the Nguzo Saba. So I'm looking at March 9th, and I'm looking at what happened in Memphis, and I'm saying, they got together and built a grocery store. That's cooperative economics. Ujamaa. So that just sort of was a feather in my cap, I guess. And I'm like, okay, so I see these things coming together. So I say all of that to say, hotep to the global African family. Because we are here to look beyond the smoke and mirrors, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Put the missing puzzle pieces together and gain a proper perspective on a few things. Now, it might sound to some like I'm just on a soapbox. And I'm going to say, something, I am. I'm going to be on a soapbox for a minute. But I am making a legitimate analytical point that is the most significant statement, at least in my mind, for all of the people, for the crowd, for the FBA people, that no tangibles. Pan-Africanism ain't got no tangibles. First off, let it be known, let it be clear. You do no more than repeat what your leader, what your coach, what your influencer, what your bird brain daddy puppeteered into your beaks. But I must show you some receipts. Because here's the logical trap that you walk into every time you say, ain't no receipts. Or here's part of that logical trap. Because FBA will say, Pan-Africanism extracted billions from us. And then they'll say, Pan-Africanism ain't built nothing. Well, you can't have both at the same time. If it extracted billions from us, where it at? Who got it? Either the money went somewhere and built something for somebody, or there was never any billions being extracted in the first place. Now, personally, I'm here to tell you. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, thank you. Hit the like button. Make sure you stay subscribed. If you're new here, thank you. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. But you can walk through some of my other videos because I've destroyed claim number 1. I'm sorry, I've destroyed claim number 2 across multiple videos already. And nobody has documented claim number 1 with a single verifiable source. So no one has been able to document the billions extracted from Black Americans. Now, like I said, I'm trying to put everything all in one place, at least so that I had about 10 to 15 to 20 people tell me I don't never give receipts. Okay, this is the receipts. Get your notebook out. Oh, I'm putting them all together tonight. One solid video that encapsulates the best receipts at this point in time that I have discovered. Some I already knew, some I learned. Now, after I lay out these receipts, I got one kill shot question for the FBA advocates. I'm gonna try to stay above the fray, who still have some intellectual honesty left in them. Because I already know that the Goon Squad bird brains, there I go, are going to stay obstinate no matter what. And that's fine. I'm not really talking to them anymore. Now, I may, you troll me, I will troll you back. But my question is simply this. What is the FBA movement built? I'm not asking what has African Americans built. The FBA is a subculture at best. The FBA is a movement within African American culture. It is not reflective of the whole group. So my question, what is the FBA movement itself built? What is the FBA organization? Although I know y'all hate that term. What have y'all built? And this question deserves an honest answer. If you really about that life, the life of building, the life of benefiting and improving the community. Now, if you just about internet-based beef, diaspora wars on social media, chasing YouTube algorithm checks, then you ain't had to build nothing but that. But that's my kill shot question. What I'd rather do is, like I said, we're going to get into this whole thing. Put the on a little bit. Just a little bit. Because as I deal with this question and as I look up stuff and I'm like, well, if you don't know, that's fine. We don't have to know everything at one particular time. So there have been people that said, ain't been no Africans ever helped none of us over here. And so they like to focus on, they've extracted billions from us. Okay, well, let's look at money. Let's look at finance. Let's look at the financial infrastructure. Because that's the claim. That's one of the claims. So receipt number one, did y'all know that Chicago was founded by a black man? Did you know that black man was a Haitian? Now, I don't know how you want to fit that onto the 3 stars of the FBA or not, but, have at it. But back in May 2016, there was a brother from Ghana. Yeah, not an FBA, not an African American, not a black American. A Ghanaian entrepreneur named Papa Kwesi Nduom. He invested $9 million to save the Illinois Service Federal Savings and Loan Association in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood. Do I need to say that again? He invested $9 million into this Black American, African American, foundational Black American bank. At the time, the bank was 82 years old and it was under federal cease and desist orders from the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Yeah, Uncle Sam was about to close those doors. It was about to be liquidated. They needed somebody to come in and help them. No African Americans, none of our billionaires, none of our millionaires, none of our entertainers, none of our politicians, no African Americans did anything. Without that Ghanaian investment, one of the last black-owned banks in Chicago, issuing home loans and small business loans to black Americans on the south side of Chicago, would have been gone. Now that's documented. You can look up the OCC conditional approval number 1154, June 2016. Go look it up. A continental African from Ghana had the nerve, the gumption, the audacity, the heart, the Pan-African mindset to help assist an African-American financial institution. Now you can tell me again, but wait a minute, they just be extracting from us. He put money in, kept the bank going. It's still active today. And if you know, you already know we have a problem with how many black-owned banks we get to maintain. The number's been dropping. So that's receipt number one for you. A Ghanaian stepped up to the plate and helped save an African-American bank. And it don't just stop there. That's in Chicago. Go on down the Mississippi River, or one of those rivers. A federally chartered credit union. We still on banking system. So we got a credit union in St. Louis, Missouri. It is opened up, managed, operated jointly governed by a group of African immigrants and a group of African Americans, foundational Black Americans. Together, they came together to pool their resources and open up this credit union so that they could provide loans, so that they could share in opening up savings accounts and providing financial education specifically to the diaspora community in that community. Now, that's new. They just opened that up in 2025. Doing that if Pan-Africanism is dead. So that's just two receipts for you. But what bank has the FBA zeitgeist opened up or even helped save? How many FBA people even have their money in a black-owned bank? But we're going to move on. That's soapbox material. Let's look at what's called institutional continuity. They say Pan-Africanism is dead. Let me show you what dead looks like. Receipt number 3. Now, you probably have heard about it. The UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Yeah, what you bringing them up for? They dead. That went out when Marcus Garvey died. No, I didn't. The Universal Negro Improvement Association held its 67th international convention at the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Plaza in August of 2025. Now, it's not their fault if you think they did. It's not their fault if you think they're not in operation today. That's your ignorance. But at this convention, they had delegations coming to New York from Los Angeles, Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, Phoenix, Washington, D.C., from Curacao and Toronto. That's quintessential Pan-Africanism. And it's not just a historical footnote. They was about real pro-black business. They was about Pan-African affairs. What did they discuss? Among other things, they discussed their profitable, for all you black capitalists, they discussed their profitable restaurant co-op. That's right. The UNIA got a restaurant co-op. Which brings me to receipt number 4. Now, don't get me when I throw out this term, it may say, y'all know everybody loves letters. FACA-ROC. 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 What in the world? What kind of language is that? The Federation of African, Caribbean, and American Restaurant Owners Corporation. FACA-ROC. Not Jay-Z. It's based in Southeast Queens, New York. They launched this entity back in May of 2017. And in 2 years, it was already profitable. So this is receipt number 4, Pan-Africanism, doing work in the community. What did they do? They came together, African owners, Caribbean owners, American Black, foundational Black American owners. 100 Black restaurants, each spending $10,000 a week on food supplies. They said, wait a minute, that equals $52 million a year in purchasing power. So they said, well, let's network. FACA-ROC consolidates that purchasing power. They buy in bulk together. They sell back to the member restaurants at reduced cost. They employed warehouse workers into the system. They employed delivery drivers into the system. They employed plumbers and electricians and accountants and consultants into the system, all within the Black community. All 3 diaspora communities, the African Blacks, the Caribbean Blacks, and the American Blacks. The name alone answers the one-way street argument. Again, what is it called? The Federation of African, Caribbean, and American Restaurant Owners. That is the receipt and the rebuttal in one sentence. So they came together to make a co-op, and they have a supermarket right there in Queens. You can walk into it right now. But y'all said it's dead. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving right along. Receipt number 5. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the Nation of Islam in itself is a Pan-African movement. Not because they got a Pan-African ideology, but because they exist throughout the Black population. They got active branches in the United States. They got branches in Ghana and the United Kingdom. They have domestic agricultural programs. They have international organizational infrastructure. This is built by Black Americans mostly, but they operate across 3 different continents. So that's my receipt number 5. Still alive and kicking today. Buying land, managing agriculture, that's farming, selling products across 3 different continents. Hell, I was in Egypt and they was asking me, did I bring a bean pie? So again, this idea, the talking point of Pan-Africanism being dead, this is why I keep saying it's a stupid talking point. It's rooted in ignorance. You just don't know how to look, where to look. But we're going to move on. Because I was thinking about this. And I did some digging. And so, receipt number 6. Did you know that there are approximately 21,000 African-born physicians? That's right, they were born on the continent, but they are currently practicing medicine in the United States. Hell, 6,000 of them are from Nigeria alone. A 2023 study published in the Journal of African Medical, I don't know what it's, I'm sorry, I'm going to put Ujamaa, J-A-M-A, the Ujamaa Network Open. They found that every 10 percentage point increase in Black physicians or in Black physician representation is directly associated with guess who? And what is the end result? Higher life expectancy and lower mortality rates among Black residents. So these African-born physicians, who are their primary patients? These doctors are disproportionately serving Black, low-income, and underserved communities across Detroit and Baltimore and Houston and Atlanta and Richmond, Virginia, and so on and so forth. Well, they don't live in the same communities as us. I don't know where you live. They work in the same communities. We ain't traveling 4 hours to go see our African doctor. Continental Africans in the medical field are literally keeping Black Americans alive. You can't say that's symbolic. That is measurable data with health records and life expectancy and quality of life. And that's literally just looking at the physicians. What do you think is going to happen if you go looking up the nurses? The number's going to explode even more. And yes, I'm going to say that is a Pan-African receipt. Why? Because Pan-Africanism is the idea that Black people from various parts of the planet can work together to benefit themselves. So an African physician, an African nurse can work over here in America and work in the Black community, providing a service, medical and health information and assistance for the benefit of both the practitioner and the client, the customer, the patient. So, okay. So I'm gonna leave the medicine alone. I'm gonna step away from the medical. Let's keep it moving, shall we? Yeah, let's keep it moving. The FBA scammers are in the building. Thank you for showing up. So let's look at agricultural and commodity pipelines. What in the world? What that mean? What you talking about? Well, okay, so let's say now, Sweet Unity Farms. Y'all ever heard of Sweet Unity Farms? It's an African-American owned coffee company founded by David Robinson. Y'all know who David Robinson is? The son of Jackie Robinson. Now, what he did was he decided to get on an airplane. He flew on over to the motherland. He's operating his business primarily in Tanzania. Well, see, I told you it's just taking money out of the Black. Nope, you're wrong again. He created a direct trade coffee co-op. He partners with 200 family farms for his product. He's building a diaspora agricultural infrastructure on the continent. He's taking those coffee beans and turning them into various coffee products, and he's selling them over here. That's for anybody over here, Black or white. But that's a Black man who owns a business on the continent selling products over here. So y'all mad at entrepreneurship too? Entrepreneurship ain't got nothing to do with us. Now we're gonna stay in this little lane about coffee, because quite a few brothers and sisters have learned and realized, it's money in the coffee game. So we got Sweet Unity Farms. That's receipt number 7. We got another company called Coffee Black. So this is receipt number 8. It was founded by Bartholomew Jones and Renata Henderson, both African Americans, both from Memphis, that same city again. They back in the news. Now, Jones traced his lineage to a great-grandfather who was a sharecropper in Arkansas. Their mission is to reclaim the history of coffee for Black people in the diaspora. Did you know that coffee originated in Ethiopia? And did you know that in this sphere of economics and business. Even though it originated in Ethiopia, for some reason, black people end up being the last ones to earn a profit from it. So Bartholomew Jones and Renata Henderson said, no, we're going to get in on this. They're building another pipeline. So that's receipt number 8. Receipt number 9, we still on coffee. It's another coffee company, co-founded by a brother named Joseph Luton, African American. It's called Important Joe's. Now his wife is from Ethiopia, but they too are creating a direct Ethiopia to United States coffee import pipeline, joint ownership across diaspora lines. That's not a coincidence. That's literally what Pan-Africanism is. It's operating a business together from 2 different black communities. Coffee is the new lane. It's not a secret as you might think it is. Because receipt number 10, there's another coffee company named BD Imports and Apparel Cafe. Now that's an African American entrepreneur from Georgia named Phyllis Johnson. Now this person said, I got one question for you. In 2014, they said, where are the Brazilian coffee producers? Because despite Brazil being, now I say Ethiopia started coffee, Brazil itself is the largest coffee producer in the world. They the export wealth. Here's the unfortunate fact. The export wealth of coffee is controlled 99% by white folk. So what Phyllis Johnson did was say, look, I don't necessarily have to go to Africa. I can stay in the Western Hemisphere and still work with other people who are of African descent. And so she found some Brazilian coffee makers or coffee farmers. She built her own pipeline. And in 2020, her firm exported the first ever container of coffee from Brazil, produced and exported exclusively by black people. And that shipment itself has since scaled to over 2 tons annually. So she's shipping 2 tons of coffee each year, working directly with black Brazilian farmers who are now receiving 20 to 30% above market price because an a foundational black American woman decided that Pan-Africanism is a business strategy, not just a philosophy. So again, when people say Pan-Africanism is dead, you are literally just showing your own ignorance. You don't know what it is. You don't know how to look for it. You don't know how to find it. I'll give you another example. So, okay, we're done with coffee for a minute. Any of you brothers and sisters use shea butter. The whole entire industry is basically Pan-Africanism. But in particular, there's a black entrepreneur from Oregon. Because what I'm trying to do is show you, I could just go generic and say, so the shea butter, that's generic. If I said the whole industry, that's generic. And so, you'll run into these FBA people that'll say, that's just extraction. They're making it and they're selling it to us. There's a black entrepreneur in Oregon who's creating a direct partnership with Shea Butter Farms in Ghana. He supplies black beauty salons across America. So it's an African production. It's a black American distribution system. And it's a black consumer base. Y'all know what that is? That's a closed economic loop. So when you hear other people say, well, the black dollar, it only spends a limited amount of time in the black community because we don't support each other. Well, they do. Now you can have your conversations and your arguments about whether or not that's an accurate assessment. But at the end of the day, this is an example of a Pan-African enterprise where Everybody involved is black, and the money circulates within this black community. So that's receipt number 11, unless I done lost my count. But now let's jump. Let's go to Alexandria, Louisiana, because there's somebody named Conda Mason, an African-American founder and president of it's called Jubilee Justice. They established a Black Farmers Rice Project in Alexandria, Louisiana, on a former plantation, no doubt. And it is now the largest organic farm in the state of Louisiana. Now, this project works with black farmers across Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and the Carolinas. They're teaching regenerative farming methods and organizing them around a high-value specialty rice crop, a crop that generates significantly more income per acre than traditional commodity farming. Well, you can't count that. That's us. We always been doing it for us. Now, here's where it gets real. In 2022, they opened the Black Farmers Rice and Grain Mill, a multi-$100,000 facility. It's recorded as the first black-owned solar-powered rice mill in the United States, and it is not owned by a corporation. It is not owned by an investor, an angel investor. It is owned cooperatively by the black farmers themselves. And Conda Mason, she said directly, we as a cohort have the deeds to the building. Now that mill represents full vertical integration, from growing the rice to milling the rice to distributing the rice to making their own decisions about where the rice goes, what it sells for. There's no white-owned middleman at any stage, closed loop. The profit margin that used to go to somebody else now stays inside those black hands, inside that black community. Now, the project itself is backed by the Katali Foundation. It has distribution partnership with Lotus Foods for U.S. markets. It has been broadcast on over 300 public televisions. And it features Shirley Sherrod, one of the most decorated and battle-tested black agricultural advocates in American history, as one of their co-directors. So it's black farmers owning the means of production, not talking about it online, not making YouTube videos talking about, well, white farming is dead. It's black farmers staying in control. So I'm gonna still say that's Pan-Africanism. Now, let's keep it moving, shall we? Because if you go and look at fashion and manufacturing, you still got more Pan-African activity at work. So receipt number 13. There's a company named Dianu. D-I-Y-A-N-U, Dianu. It was founded by Adi Elaber in Pennsylvania in 2014. Direct manufacturing partnerships in Nigeria and Ghana. They got over $10 million in annual revenue, 100% black-owned equity, no outside venture capital. They got a physical distribution center in Norristown, Pennsylvania, employing black workers. They have an affiliate program that pays commissions to black content creators and entrepreneurs. You can look them up on Shopify, because Shopify documented them as a case study. Now, when they put that thing together, they stepped it up a notch. They bought African print fabrics, not from Europe, Because there's some people saying, well, just because you wearing African clothes don't mean nothing because they get those from Europe. Not all of them. It is Africans on the continent still making African fabric and African clothing. Well, Dianu got all of their source stuff directly from Africa. Dianu built the supply chain, or the company. But Adi Elaber built the supply chain herself and kept every dollar of profit inside a black-owned company. So again, that's another company. So what would I say? That was number 13. So let's move on down the road. Receipt number 14. This company was founded by Lanny Smith. Now you may have seen him. I think on Roland Martin. It's called Actively Black. And that's an African-American entrepreneur. So I'm gonna I want to hit you with two receipts with one company. First, he actually has a line of clothing called the Anti-Colonizer Cotton Club. Now, if that don't come from the mind of a Pan-Africanist, I don't know what does. But anyhow, it's 100% black owned. It's from soil to shirt supply chain, meaning sourcing the cotton from black farmers in Alabama and North Carolina. The name alone should end the conversation, but I know it won't. Not for the diehard FBAs. But second, now this is the one where I said, okay, I got a 2-for-1 for you. Because this one hits differently. Actively Black, what Lanny Smith has been able to do. Actively Black is the official outfitter for the Nigerian Olympic Committee. What? An African government. I thought y'all said they hate us. An African government passed over Nike. Said, nah, we don't want to deal with them white boys. Passed over Adidas. Nah, we don't want to deal with them white boys. They gave their Olympic contract to a foundational Black American owned company in Houston, Texas. That Nigerian government budget is now funding an African American warehouse that employs African American workers. Do that sound like a one-way street to you? Do that sound like extraction to you? Or do that sound like Ujamaa? Cooperative economics. But we gonna move on. So receipt number 15, I think. There's a consulting group named Quality Works. Los Angeles based. Shout out to Kevin, aka Mr. K. Good evening to the Pan-African Terminator. Thank you, my brother. Good evening to you. So what you need brother, you're gonna need a little title yourself, because you are the Pan-African, you are the Pan-African Library. That ain't a cool one, but we'll keep working on it. But so we talk about technology and professional services. So there's an MIT trained engineer by the name of Stacy Kurt, Los Angeles based. She built and I'm gonna tell you, I don't even hardly know what this means. She built a nearshore software model with a technical hub, guess where? In Kingston, Jamaica. Again, Pan-Africanism. It don't have to go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. You could go up and down the hemisphere. So she built a technical hub in Kingston, Jamaica, serving Fortune 500 clients down there in the Caribbean. She's working with AT&T and Fox. The Pan-African labor pipeline reduced her operational costs by 30 to 50% compared to US only staffing. So that's what you call cost efficiency. And that cost efficiency scaled her into a multi-million-dollar firm competing directly with white-owned multinational agencies. And the profits, she's taking the profits from that enterprise to fund something called Innovation Lab. And what is the Innovation Lab? It provides STEM training. And for all you people, they're still extracting from, it provides STEM training for Black youth in Los Angeles. So there goes your extraction garbage again. Pan-Africanism is paying for Black children in Los Angeles to learn the skills and technology that they need for future wherewithal in this economic turmoil that we currently sit in. Receipt on the table. Eat up. Mr. K said, here's the bottom line. FBA are not fighting for Black Americans. They're not fighting for Black Americans' human rights. They are just fighting for Black America's bragging rights. And they can't even brag correctly. But we gonna move on. Because that was receipt number 15. So receipt number 16. In real estate, in the area of real estate and land development, there's a company called Beyond Investments, owned, operated, headed up by Dre Taylor, an African-American developer from Kansas City. That brother looked and said, you know what? Just like that Memphis brother before they executed him, that Memphis brother said, tell my people to go. Dre Taylor said, let me look and see what Ghana got popping off. So he went over to Ghana, did his thing, became a Ghanaian citizen, was installed as a traditional chief, and built approximately, they say approximately 150 homes on multiple acres in Ghana. He organizes delegations of Black Americans, including a recent group from Miami. Now here you go. I know the FBA's, well, that's just taking out the community. He took some brothers and sisters from Miami to Ghana so that they could learn land development. That is a business in and of itself. That is a skill. So that they can also explore their heritage, because that's a part of Pan-Africanism. But I know y'all hate that part more than anything else. And yes, he wanted them to contribute to local Ghanaian villages. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But he's currently on a 14-city United States tour teaching land acquisition, dual citizenship, and real estate investment strategy. So he went to the continent. He set up a business. And he's bringing the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and skills that he learned while over there, back over here, and helping to train other foundational Black African Americans. But you fully invested FBA types keep saying, ain't nobody doing nothing. Show me one Pan-African idea that's really relevant. And it's not like I said, he's literally working in such a way. It's not just tourism. It's not diaspora tourism. He is creating his own educational pipeline, his entrepreneurial training ground, transferable skills, land development, permit navigation, construction logistics, cross-border investment structures. Those are skills that you can deploy wherever you go. In Black American communities here, or you can go start traveling, be a nomad and say, I know how to make some money now. So he's using Africa as a training ground, America as a deployment ground. That's human capital development in both directions. Two-way street. What I said, that was like receipt number 16. So here we go again. So now let's look at, maybe I'm gonna go back to medicine for a little bit. Let's look at international institutions, or at least some international institutions. We'll take a trip down memory lane. There's something called Africa Medical Supplies Platform. Now, and I will admit, with a lot of these examples that I'm giving you, you sort of have to be in it to win it. But that's a part of the thing. You can't just sit on the sidelines all the time and complain about what you don't see. You got to get off your porch. You got to get off your street. You got to get out your neighborhood if you don't see it. Sometimes it's in your neighborhood and you just ain't went down that particular road. But anyhow, soapbox. I said I wasn't going to soapbox tonight. But did you know that during COVID-19, when the entire global market was price gouging even the PPE, even the masks, they had 500% above market prices? Well, the African Union said, hold on, we're not going to just sit by and let this happen. So the African Union, and anybody that says, well, I don't like the African Union, hey, I might be with you. There are all kinds of ways to critique the African Union, but there are all kinds of ways to recognize when they do what they're supposed to do. So they launched the Africa Medical Supplies Platform, and they backed this platform with $2 billion investment. A credit line from Afrexim Bank. And now, I don't want to say scholars, but the penny pinchers, the number crunchers, who look at this type of thing, they said, now what they did next was extraordinary. They opened that platform. It was traditionally reserved for AU member states, meaning you had to be an actual full-fledged recognized government, because that's baked into the system when they set up the institution. But they decided, well, Pan-Africanism says that we should work with other black people wherever they are. It don't just have to be the government. So they opened up the platform to CARICOM nations, which hadn't been included. And they opened up the platform to black diaspora, African-American firms, companies. We don't got a government here in America that is all ours. All we have is private companies. And they said, well, okay, so you got a business. We'll work with you. So black-owned medical supply companies in the United States gained access to what they call bulk purchasing power that allowed them to secure contracts at fair market prices, even down to those N95 masks that were like $2 each, when the open market was charging 10, 20 times that. So there you go. You got an African institution used its sovereign financial infrastructure to shield black diaspora businesses from exploitation during a global medical crisis. That's top-notch, tier 1 Pan-Africanism in its purest form. Africa acting on behalf of, for Black America. And they put $2 billion behind it. So that's, again, does this help all Black Americans? No. But this helps the Black Americans who have businesses that need opportunities for growth. That's what Pan-Africanism is. You help where you can, when you can, however you can. Whether it be at a coffee shop or at a medical supply center. Now, I think that's the last receipt I got. But I do got, so this brings me to my kill shot question. And I think I already sort of brought it up at the beginning anyhow. But here's the thing. So we got this ledger, so to speak, like in accounting terms. The output ledger with 17 receipts for Pan-Africanism. Some of it in the country of America by itself. Some of it in the Western Hemisphere with CARICOM and the Caribbean and Jamaica and Brazil. And some of it actually crosses over to the Atlantic, or crosses the Atlantic Ocean and actually touches the continent in various ways. That's the Pan-African ledger. Let's look at the FBA output ledger as it currently stands. We have Tariq Nasheed, and he leased the museum space. Now, okay, I'll give you credit. He leased the museum space. So that's a receipt. He did open it. Now, other researchers have documented that it's more like a rental hall than an institution, but hey, he's got multiple podcasts. I'm sorry. No, yeah, he's got multiple podcasts. There are some YouTube channels. This is the, if I don't say FBA ledger, then I should say the ABBA ledger. The ABBA ledger, ABA. Anything but African ledger. So we got the Nasheedites. Now we got some Edosians. The ADOS policy platform that has not produced a single piece of enacted legislation. They talk good. They talk about politics and legislation very well. They sound very knowledgeable. They haven't enacted anything. They say they're about reparations advocacy, but they ain't the ones that got anything passed, and if anything did get passed. They haven't set up a fund. They haven't built an institution. And so whether you're ADOS, whether you're FBA, whether we're just delineating. That's all this is about, is just delineation. Well, I guess delineation means talk. Because you ain't set up no new banks, and you ain't even in droves supporting the black-owned banks that's already here. You know, I could respect you if, where is the FBA call for all FBAs to remove their money from white-owned banks and put them into the black-owned banks or the black-owned credit unions? Where? When? So you ain't built a credit union, but Pan-Africans did. You ain't built a grocery store, but Pan-Africans did. The FBAs don't own a farm. You ain't opened up a hospital. You ain't got no housing development. None of this is on your output ledger. Where is your manufacturing co-op? And I literally mean FBA. You're not allowed to say, well, this African American, nuh-uh, you're not allowed to do that. You can't piggyback. You can't veggie back. You can't politic back. Mr. K, let's see what you got. FBAs confuse politics with privileges, economics with exceptionalism, finance with favoritism, industry with ingratiation, and justice with judgment. That's very well thought out. And I agree with that. I agree with that completely. FBA is nothing but I'm not supposed to keep saying PSYOP, but Okay, FBA is nothing but a confusion campaign. They conflate and they confuse. So they're not importing anything. They have no import-export operations. They have no international partnership. I'm not saying that FBA ain't built nothing. I'm saying I don't know what it is. And I'm not saying this out of malice. I'm saying it as evidence that y'all need to do something if y'all want to be taken seriously. And Mr. K says, hence why they are just about bragging rights, not human rights, for well-being of Black America. I got you. And when it comes down to that, again, you know, if I guess that's all they really do want. They just want to say, they just want to be able to beat their chest and say, my ancestors built this country. Okay, like nobody said that we didn't. But that don't get you the reparations check. That don't get you a business. That don't get you nothing. Now, Pan-Africanism, again, the 67th annual international convention. That means they have met 67 times. So they didn't get the memo that Pan-Africanism is dead. They got a profitable restaurant co-op. They got a Queens supermarket. They got a Chicago bank rescue. There's 21,000 physicians serving Black communities that were born on the continent of Africa and came over here to finalize their education and help keep us alive. There are African Americans working in the coffee industry, working in the shea butter industry, working in fashion manufacturing, working in rice and farming and land development programs. These are all examples of African Americans working with other Black populations, whether they be on the continent of Africa, on the continent of South America, or in the Caribbean. There's an African American with an apparel company that has a contract with an African government. Show me the FBA equivalent of any of these. I will wait. I will not hold my breath. And while you're thinking, or more likely deflecting, while you're thinking, or more likely shifting goalposts, or trying to figure out how to shift the goalposts, or like the other idiot that came into the room and wanted to launch a personal attack. The best thing FBAs do is ad hominem attack, because that's the only tool left in the bag when you start putting receipts on the table. Ask yourself one honest question. Who is actually building something for Black people? It ain't the FBA. Now, you can show, I just showed, that Pan-Africanists are concerned with, interested in, and work for the betterment of the Black community, whether it be from a national perspective, macroeconomics, or whether it be from a local perspective with microeconomics. Pan-Africanists are doing things that help, may not help the whole entire community all in one fell swoop, but the FBAs ain't doing none of that either. Mr. K says, Neely Fuller even said, the Black and proud consciousness just turned into Black people bragging about being Black, which was the detriment of the Black Power movement. It's like, yeah, you ain't got no more gas in the tank. Well, at least we built this. Woo! But for real, who in the FBA universe is building something for Black people? The answer is not, because you're not gonna find it. Apparently, you're not gonna find the answer in a podcast. Now, I done shown you the supply chain receipts for Pan-Africanism. I done shown you the bank balance sheet for Pan-Africanism. The FBA ain't doing nothing with a rice mill in Louisiana. They ain't doing nothing with the cotton fields in Alabama. They ain't doing nothing with the coffee farms in Tanzania or the supermarket in Queens. But there's an African American who built a whole housing development in Ghana. There are continental Africans that are treating African Americans for any number of things: high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, right here in America. That's not extraction. That's providing medical expertise so you can stay alive. That's Pan-Africanism. That's not theory. That's not a feeling. That's receipts. That's evidence, documented. Macro to micro, globally operating Black economic ecosystem. And it's all been built while the bird brains say Pan-Africanism is dead. So Mr. K says FBAs are just about living off the memory of past glories, not seeking for quests in future glories. This is true. I think there's another phrase that I used to hear: resting on your laurels. Resting on your laurels is what they used to say. You know, you've done something. Yes, you did something that was great and monumental, and now you just want to rest on it. You don't want to do nothing else. So again, or so ultimately, you know, the biggest reason the FBA crowd keeps gaslighting themselves with all this no tangible talk, it's simple. They're stuck behind an iron curtain of ignorance. They simply don't know anything. Now, I don't fault you for not knowing anything. We are all victims of ignorance, of our own ignorance. There are always aspects of life that we don't know about. There are always subjects that we don't know about. No one is expected to be an expert or to have perfect knowledge or to have any knowledge about everything on the planet. But you should at least have the curiosity. You should at least have the humility to understand you don't know everything. You should at least have the gumption to say, well, is there something I'm missing? It's okay when you don't know something. It's okay when you don't even know that you don't know something. And maybe it's not entirely your fault. But if you continue to get spoon-fed by other miseducated Negroes who themselves don't know anything, then you're just willingly participating in an ignorance fest. Yes, man-ism. And if the whole crew don't care about knowledge, well, I guess that's why they say ignorance sells just as well as sex, if not better. Because here's the thing about ignorance as a business model. It requires your audience to remain exactly what they are, uninformed, depending on the next upload to tell them what to think. And this is how many of them behave. But the moment they learn how to look, the moment they learn where to look, that's the moment they might wake up. And if they wake up, they leave. And Mr. K says, to be honest, Afrocentrics were guilty of that same thing, basically living off the memories of past glories in African civilizations, not building new African civilizations to seek future glories. I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but I do understand. I understand exactly what you mean. I guess I would just have to say it depends on who the Afrocentrics are. But there's definitely not enough. Well, I don't know. There's definitely not enough building going on. But I guess let me see. What do I need to get back to before I get up out of here? If you start digging and doing some research, then you might actually wake up. You might actually see that you're being played. You might actually see that the game is being played to keep you running in circles. Now, if you do see that, then the moment you see that it's a game of ignorance, perhaps you'll realize that you've been sitting in the bleachers arguing about whether the field exists. And it's right there in front of you. The field exists. The players are on the field. The commerce is happening. The supply chains are running and being created on a regular basis. The banks are being opened. The credit unions are being opened. The farms are producing crops. People are signing contracts and they are being about the business of bettering themselves by working with other black people who look like them but live in different locales. Now you can continue saying, "Oh, Pan-Africanism is dead." Okay, enjoy your ignorance. You just don't know. Now, it's not entirely your fault that you are ignorant, but it is entirely your fault if you remain ignorant. And I will say, in my little small teeny tiny corner of the universe of these YouTube streets, if you listen to my 16, 17, whatever it was, receipts, and you remain ignorant, that's entirely your fault. That's all on you. Let me see what's going on. Let me see. Mr. K. Now, if you are listening, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with anybody that says there's no receipts. Pan-Africanism ain't doing nothing. And the last time some fool said, name me one African. Burkina Faso, goodbye. I named you one. Ghana, goodbye. I named you a second one. Like, that kind of ignorance is so thick. But hold on, let me get back to what Mr. K was saying. When FBA claimed they used to be Pan-Africanists, they were like Dead Mike in the CB4 movie, raising the fist, screaming the chant, "I'm black, y'all," on repeat. I don't even believe, look, for real, I'm sorry, I don't believe them. I've heard a couple, so maybe my sample size is too small to be legitimate. I've heard a couple of people say, "I used to be Pan-African, but I realized that they ain't doing nothing." Then you want Pan-African. So I don't believe that, here's what, I don't believe that these people were actually Pan-African. I could easily be wrong, but if I can give you 17 receipts of examples of what Pan-Africanism is, what it looks like, what people who are of a Pan-African perspective, what they are actually doing, in just a little bit over an hour, and you say, "Well, I used to be Pan-African," prove it. Show me what you were doing as a Pan-African person, as a Pan-Africanist, as a Pan-African believer. Show me what you were doing, because there's no way all this information is out there and you still walk away saying it ain't doing nothing. What is the thing that you was working on that didn't work? Mr. K says, Malcolm X was said to be a criminal. Malcolm X said to be a criminal is not a disgrace, but to remain a criminal is a disgrace. Yes, indeed. Now, Mr. K says, I say to be ignorant is not pathetic, but to remain ignorant is pathetic. Again, agree. Like I said, if somebody can give you 16, 17 different examples of what Pan-Africanism is, how it works, who's working it, how they're benefiting, and you still say it ain't doing nothing, that's your choice. You are choosing to just be ignorant. And when you choose ignorance over facts, that means you're stupid. Now let me slow down. I wasn't supposed to use the S word again. Mr. K says, oh, of course, a lot of them are lying when they claim they used to be Pan-African, because they are too insular about the African diaspora for me to ever believe that they were ever Pan-African. Again, I'm like, if you were Pan-Africanist, like, again, you just got to show and prove to me how it was that you was a Pan-Africanist. You know, you don't become a Pan-Africanist because you heard one speech by somebody. You know, you have to go knee deep and either study it, or you have to surround yourself with other people who are doing the work. Because there are some people who are Pan-Africanists and they don't even necessarily, like, you don't have to be a person who is a quote-unquote believer or a quote-unquote reader of Pan-African ideologies and Pan-African writers. If you are an African American and you are working with a Caribbean black person or a continental African black person, and y'all setting up a business together and y'all helping each other, that is Pan-Africanism, whether you label it that or not. That's Pan-Africanism all day. So let me say this. You know, I know when it comes to the trolls that enter and drop stupid comments, I know I come off a little bit edgy sometimes. And don't get it twisted, because you know, I have at least an elementary understanding of the algorithm. And I know that sometimes the troll stuff is good for the algorithm. And I lean into it with my titles and whatnot. I gotta get some. So Mr. K says, that's the thing I feel about Umar. I think he is a Pan-Africanist. He's just not a very good Pan-Africanist. Hence, you have some very good Pan-Africanists and some very bad Pan-Africanists. And I'm with you with that. Like, you know, again, I don't think that the only way to qualify yourself as a Pan-Africanist is where you have to hit every mark on the judgment scale, or so, that's the wrong word. But there are characteristics of what Pan-Africanism is. There are ideological talking points and of what Pan-Africanism is. You don't have to hit every last one of them, and you don't have to score 100 points on every last one of them. I had said once before, I usually don't like to talk about this, but since you brought this up, I had said once before when I was talking to my cousin that I do think that there is some positive influence in a Pan-Africanistic way from the zeitgeist of Dr. Umar. But I ain't gonna die on the hill of defending it like that. But like I said, I know sometimes I might come off a little edgy. Now, let me just say it this way. I'm not totally devoid of love and compassion and concern for my people, for black people. Even if I feel like you're going down the wrong road, even if I feel like, you know, you're willfully being ignorant, that don't mean I hate you. Now, I used to like to quote Lord Ujamaa until he started jumping on the bandwagon of flat earth. Now I can't hardly stand him for jumping on that flat earth mess. But one of his oldest songs was something that always stayed in my mind. Now I can't tell you which song it was. I forgot which one it came from. But he said, Lord Ujamaa makes a difference. And I was like, I like that line. It ain't all, it's not all, I'm not saying that's like a major mind-blowing double entendre, but the idea, we supposed to try to make a difference, a positive difference. So I would just switch it up and I would say, you know, yeah, Brother Shabazz makes a difference. And then his next line, because that's the kill shot, his next line, like he said, I have no tolerance for black ignorance. That was the line. That was the line that got me. Lord Ujamaa makes a difference. I have no tolerance for black ignorance. And that stuck with me. I can't stand stupidity. I really can't. But I do honestly have concern for black people. Yes, even the FBAs. FBA all day. Wrong and loud and wrong all day. So when I see them going down a wrong road, to be perfectly frank, nothing that I have said should be taken as though it's a call. I'm not really like, it's not like I'm trying to chastise. It's not like I'm really trying to, hell, I'm not even trying to convert you into Pan-Africanism. I don't believe that Pan-Africanism itself does not need proselytizers. It doesn't. Let me pause for a second. Let's see, Mr. K. Mr. K says, Umar's Pan-Africanism was like a broken clock. On occasion, he gets things right. Indeed. He says, I think the line Lord Ujamaa is here to make a difference. Yeah, that's it. I have no time for black ignorance. And drop the bomb. Okay. So I misquoted it, but thank you for that. And yes, it is a shame. It is a shame. As Mr. K says, it is a shame that line didn't age well for Lord Ujamaa. The line aged well. Lord Ujamaa didn't age well. That brother lost his mind. But like again, me, when I can't stand stupidity. But I do have a love for black people. But I'm not saying any of this. I came with 16, 17 receipts. I didn't say this because I want to proselytize Pan-Africanism. I don't want to convert you. I don't mind at all if you say, yeah, well, I'm still going to be FBA proud. That's fine. But at least stop spitting out stupid, ignorant comments. So whether I get the quote right or wrong, I quote Lord Ujamaa. Or I think, what is it? If you don't do a verbatim quote, then it's, what's the other term? Well, anyhow, I can't remember it right now. So I refer to Lord Ujamaa because I cannot suffer a fool. I cannot suffer ignorance. So like I said, you don't have to be a Pan-Africanist. You don't have to believe in Pan-Africanism at all. You don't have to say, well, I guess I need, no. But you cannot fool yourself into delusion. That's not what life is about. That's not what the times that we live in. These are not safe times for Delulu folk. You don't have to be a Pan-Africanist, and that is absolutely fine. If you say, I just want to focus on my own people, I'm with you. That's cool. Pan-Africanism is not about self-sacrifice. It's not about group sacrifice. But lies and false narratives, that's the problem. The biggest problem with FBA is lies and false narratives. You can just work for the betterment of your own black people here in America by working for the betterment. You do not have to say, the Africans is trying to extract our money. It's a lie. It's a false narrative. And while you're focusing on that, you ain't building no economic infrastructure. Anybody can decide whether they want to be a Pan-Africanist or not. If it don't align with whatever it is you got going on, that's absolutely fine. But you don't have to lie about it. That's the same thing they used to, like the older brothers used to say to the younger brothers when they was trying to kick game to win. You ain't got to lie to kick it. Okay, Mr. K says, before you go, I have to ask a question. Okay, that's cool. Let me see. So Mr. K says, the more I do research on the historical legacy of black immigrants in the U.S., I think this question needs to be asked. Okay, what's the question? What's the question? I'm here for it. So I say, because I'm saying all of this, you know, in conclusion, to recap, recap. Yeah, I came with receipts. I think these receipts are important. But they're not important because I want you to be a Pan-Africanist. This is not about trying to convert you. But these receipts are important because I really don't want you as an FBA person, you as an African American, you as a black person, man or woman. I really don't want to see, I don't want you to labor yourself in ignorance. I don't want you to be belated and tricked into thinking things are a certain way when they just aren't. Like when you say stuff like, all February, people were saying, we want to honor Carter G. Woodson, but Black history is just for us. It's like, well, then you're not honoring Carter G. Woodson. Like, you just look silly. Okay, so now, all right, so here's the question that Mr. K is asking. And I can tell right off top, this is one I'm not going to be able to answer you without some, deep thought and some focused research. But Mr. K says, did Black America really pave the way for Black immigrants to come to America? Or did they really pave the way for Black immigrants to come to America without the atrocities of Jim Crow? Because even in the 1940s and 50s, there were waves of Black immigrants in the Caribbean and even waves pre-1924. That's something I'm gonna have to go back and either do my own research or holler at, some of my history professors who studied or specialized in that particular subject. I can't really give you, the only informed opinion that I have to date is that, that which is the general consensus is that they did pave the way. But again, I'm always open for whatever the experts say. So I'll look into that. Mr. K says, I'll give you a link from an extract book that I got. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, let me know. Send me that. And so again, so let me finish my little conclusion here. Again, I'm not trying to convince anybody that you should leave one group and join another. You want to be a FBA, that's fine. But stand on facts. And part of the reason I say stand on facts, part of the reason that I continue to say that the FBA zeitgeist, that the FBA organization, that the FBA program, the campaign, that the reason I say it's a cult is because cults trick you into believing a set of ideas that simply do not align with the actual factual reality. And I would at least like to think, okay, I'm bigging up myself just a smidgen. I would like to think that the receipts that I brought tonight, if these receipts don't show and prove that Pan-Africanism is not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. If these receipts don't show and prove that Pan-Africanism is not dead, but it is actually alive and well, if these receipts don't show and prove that African-American and other African descended people and other Africans from the continent can work together for the benefit of each other, then unfortunately that simply means you are already so far down the rabbit hole of that cult that none of us would be surprised if we wake up one morning and find out that you too have taken way too many sips from a bottle of Jim Jones style Kool-Aid. Peace to the boogeyman. Peace, brother. Peace to the boogeyman for dropping a comment. Now that's, I hope that's not like too strong of a personal statement. But I mean, if I stepped on some toes, sometimes you got to step on toes to get somebody's attention. If I didn't step on toes, cool. Like, share, and subscribe. That's what I would like for you to do. So that, again, one of the purposes, one of the goals of this video in particular was for me to assemble a decent set of receipts. So for people who say Pan-Africanism ain't doing nothing, we looked at the bank, we looked at banking infrastructure, we looked at the medical profession, we looked at entrepreneurship, we looked at farming and rice. There are all these industries and avenues and business sectors where people are coming together from Black America, Black Africa, Black Caribbean, Black South America, in business, in commerce, in trade. That is Pan-Africanism. They're earning a living. They're becoming millionaires. That's capitalism. And most Pan-Africanists don't like capitalism. Or so it would seem. So again, like I said, for all of the talking points, I do definitely take my time to kill all of the talking points. If you can stand on facts, I don't got a problem with you. But I haven't found any FBA folk that can stand on facts. Now, they're great at ad hominem attacks. But that ain't getting your movement nowhere. You ain't hurting nobody's feelings. And definitely, the boogeyman says, and I co-sign this 100%, all the progress Black people have made, all the progress Black people have gained within this country can be attributed to Pan-Africanism. I co-sign that. I co-sign that entirely. So again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is your brother Shabazz. This is the pro-Black channel, The Proper Perspective. I greet you with Hotep, and I'm going to get ready to get up out of here by saying Hotep again to the global African family, the Pan-Africanists that we are. We're here to look beyond the smoke and mirrors and fit the missing puzzle pieces together. So I've given you 16 or 17 puzzle pieces. You put those together and you will see Pan-Africanism is alive and well. It's working. It is creating millionaires in over multiple business avenues, while the FBAs are doing nothing but spitting vitriol online. That's just what it is. So yeah, FBA is wrong again. There is a Pan-African economic ecosystem that is alive and well. This is your brother Shabazz. I'm gonna get on up out of here. You can drop some more comments on the video page and I will respond to them. Somebody came through the other day and left me 20 different comments. And when I attacked all 20 of them, they just said, oops, and got on up out of here. But like I said, holla at me, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to catch you on the next one. This is your brother Shabazz. And let me know if you can hear this.
So I'ma put you in your proper perspective. So I'ma put you in your proper perspective. So I'ma put you in your proper perspective.
Break it down with the proper perspective.
So I'ma put you in your proper perspective.
So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection. Whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective.